All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. My name is John, and today was patch day, and one of the things they changed in this game was elixirs. And basically, before there were individual elixirs and then party elixirs. Now they're all party elixirs, and there's still the green and blue, but I still wanted to do an update on what I use for both PvP, PvE, and life skilling. So first of all, in my opinion, I do think that elixirs are more of like a end game thing, because most of the time you don't really need to do full elixirs unless you're doing obviously group stuff, or like group grinds or very high end solo spots. So yeah, we'll show you like what everything is all about. These are the elixirs I use. We'll go into more detail in a second. And for all of you who are thinking about going into Alchemy, going for Guru 1 was one of my goals last year. So where is it? Lightstones, artifact and lightstones. So for example, you get these imperfect ones, and then you could turn it into the purified ones. And basically, you need Guru 1 to do that. Otherwise, you'd be spending like 20 mil each. And generally, I still don't think these are really worth gambling for. The only one that's really worth it in terms of the red tier is probably the strike crystal, which I've had an order on one for quite a while. But aside from that, in the meantime, I would just put an order on it, and then you get it when you get it. But anyway, back to elixirs. Yeah, so everything is a party elixir now, and if you have been using the old ones, make sure to like combine them, because like they had some of them that weren't combined. You just put like 10 of them in, or like restack them, I guess you could say. So yeah, this is a good thing to do if you are trying to push for Guru 1 as well. There's a lot of other ways, but this is just one of those things that might be good to learn early on. So when you do hit the end game and you just have elixirs. So a lot of these are just kind of, you know, leftover byproducts that I just made for whatever. Here are the ones that I think are actually important and worth using. For PvE, I actually use most of these, and let's just go down to order because these are all what I use. So, Brutal Perforation, I think, and I'll tell you like what I think the bottlenecks are. If you buy the green one off the market, just turn it into a blue one. Most of them you could just buy off the market, not the blue versions, but the green one, and then you combine it. I'll show you how to do that later. So Brutal Perforation, Endless Frenzy. This is actually a pretty good one, but it's a little weird at the higher end. I know they have one where it's just like +5 AP, but with no downsides or something. And it's essentially the same thing, but more AP. So more glass cannon. Let's see. So far, there's nothing out of the ordinary in terms of materials that I would recommend. So next one we have is Grim Reaper elixirs. These are very important. So a lot of these elixirs, the reason why you use them is because you want more, obviously, either damage or survivability. And doing a full elixir rotation is, you know, like very survivable. So if you're trying like a new grind spot for the first time and you don't want to like accidentally die, this is what you do. So recovery on hit and crits and all that stuff is just like, it's very hard to die when you do full elixirs. It's possible, but you have to like go out of your way to actually get yourself in that situation. So Trace of Origin is probably one of the tougher ones to get. These are like, it's not bad, but probably the most expensive material. Ash Sap is always on order on the market, but if you want to watch my gathering video, I tell you how to get Ash Sap very easily. You can get a lot, and it's not really a big deal. So we have Brutal Death, and then Strong Life, more HP, always good. Steel Defense, more defensives. Lethal Assassin. So depending on where you grind, a lot of these elixirs kind of depend on what you would want to do. So for the most part, I do the 2 rows over here, and then like very situational ones on the third one. So back attack is always used no matter where you grind. That's a very important one. Lethal destruction, special attack damage 2%, very huge. Remarkable will. This one is one where you should buy the green ones and then craft it yourself, because it's very cheap and you could just get it. Whereas some of them that are like, what are these, like sharp detections, you probably want to make those yourself if you can. So yeah, sharp detections has always been one of the bottlenecks back in the day. I think now, at least on the NA server, you can just buy it. It's still pretty expensive to buy, but you can actually just get it now, which is always huge. Strong draining, recover HP on critical hit. So you know how we were talking about, like, when you hit and you get regen? That's the reason why a lot of people use frenzies, which I think are very good as well. But aside from like the extra AP against monsters and everything, you get the recover 3 per hit. And with this one, you get like the 3 here, but you also get more on crit and everything else. And then strong shock. I really don't think that most people would need strong shock if you're full buffed already. Chances are you're already at 5 crit, but if you're not, just use it anyway. Next, we have down attack. So depending on where you grind, you might not actually need down attack elixirs, but it's always good to have. Same with air attack. Kama Sylvian Griffin elixirs are probably going to be sold out. So this is the one you're going to want to actually go craft yourself. So if you're down in the Navern Steppe area and you go hunting for those, what is it? Not hunting, but like gathering for those griffins, you'll get the claws. They're kind of expensive. Cedar sap is kind of expensive as well, but everything else you can get. Demi-humans or demi-humans. I think that if you're going to use elixirs for demi-humans, you're probably around a like 290, 300 plus AP. And that's kind of like Ulakita area, or like very like out of your way Elvia things. So most people won't use it. But one fun fact, if you're using full elixirs for Kama Sylvian mobs, if you use it on Landed a Morning Light bosses, and they're actually considered Kama Sylvian enemies. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but like, you know how when you look at the like health bar at the top of your screen and it shows you the icon of what they are? Apparently, they're considered Kama Sylvians. Why? I don't know. But anyway, that works. Flowing Wind. I don't think you really need these, because getting 5 attack speed just by like everything else, like if you're tent buffed and your food buffed and everything, I think you're at 5 by default, but if you're not, just use that. And concentration is for accuracy. This is more of a, I guess, a very high-end grind spot for PvE or PvP. So situational. And the final one is life XP, which is obviously life skilling. So yeah, that's what I use. And I actually wanted to talk about something. If you have the continuous care ability, let's talk about this one for a second. So obviously I understand that everyone wants to have the best fairy, like 5, right? I think of all the skills, Miraculous Cheer 5 is really the only like mandatory one at endgame you want to have. But other than that, it's if you get continuous care, it's probably just good. And before you start re-rolling and trying to get the best one, ask yourself, what are you actually going to use and what elixirs are, you know, very important for you. So yes, I've seen people use all 20, but do you need all 20? So let me show you. Where is it? Oh yeah, okay, so continuous care. 1 is 5, 8, 12, 16, and 20 from 1 to 5. And realistically, I think for most people, using between 8 to 12 slots is, you know, like good enough for most people. 16 and 20 is more for like endgame high-end stuff. And even for myself, realistically, I can get away with using like 16 I'll buy. I have to like refix all of these in a second. But yeah, since they made the change. So basically these are the same thing, and how it works is you would have to, you just click on the ones that you think you need. So like you get one food, you could either use a draft or your elixir setups, one perfume, and or your other scrolls. And for me personally, I don't even, like, I have 16 max. Just pop your cron meal before you start. It's one button. And then have your elixir set. So if you have 16, it's good enough. If you don't, just think about what are the most important ones. But overall, that's what I use. So hopefully it helped you out. And for life skilling, it's not really super important. What I use for life skilling in general is the elixir flowing time. If you have the, what is it, spirit perfumed green one, or the verdure draft, you can use those instead. But if you're like on a budget, the flowing time, and you just want life XP, that's fine. But everything else, I think you can get relatively easy. I think the bottlenecks are probably going to be corrupted armor. What is it? Where's that 3 mil one? Sharp detections. And I think frenzies, they're not hard to make, but it's very important. So Griffin elixirs are definitely going to be ones you have to craft yourself. And lethal destruction is pretty important. The snowfield cedar sap is probably going to be your bottleneck. But that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I just wanted to make the update. Also, before we head out, just want to show you how to actually do it. So you go to any NPC in town. You take 3 elixirs that are green quality. You buy this, and then you turn them into a blue one. If you want to mass process, you get the essences. And all of this is done through the NPCs. So it's like less things. And yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you learned something. It was just a quick update. And thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Would love to see you come back. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.